Okay, good morning. So it's a great pleasure and honor for me to introduce Vijay Vazirani. I remember seeing him, I mean, he wouldn't remember, of course, as a star-struck undergraduate student on one of his visits to IIT Delhi. And he's had a very, very illustrious career. So I won't use the entire Wikipedia entry on him, but share maybe a few highlights. Vijay got his undergraduate from MIT in '79, PhD from UC Berkeley. He's been in the faculty at Cornell, at IIT Delhi, Georgia Tech, and now currently he's a McKay visiting professor at UC Berkeley and a distinguished SSL visitor at Caltech and University of California, Irvine as a distinguished professor. He's made seminal contributions to algorithms, classical matching, maximal matching problem, and key contributions to computational complexity theory. For example, the isolation lemma, the variant with Vazirani theorem, and the equivalence between random generation and approximate counting. He's received many, many awards. Vijay and his brother Umesh Vazirani were both inducted as fellows of ACM in 2005. In 2011, he was awarded the Guggenheim Fellowship, and 2022, Vijay received the John von Neumann Theory Prize for fundamental and sustained contributions to the design of algorithms, including approximation algorithms, computational complexity theory, and algorithmic game theory, central to operations research and management sciences. So without further ado, over to you, Vijay.
Thank you. I don't believe that. Good. So, thank you for the invitation to this great university, or on its way to being great. It's already great. Good. Going to be. Good to be great. Yeah. Going to be great. It's going to be great. Yes. Sorry. Huh? Okay. In any case, and yeah, it's really an honor to be here, and thank you all for coming. And this speaker is also working. So everything is working, fortunately. So we should start then. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the core of the assignment game. How many people have heard of the Shapley-Shubik theorem paper from 1971? So it's a classic. If you ask a random economist, for their 5 top papers, I'm sure this will be one of them. 5 top papers from all of economics. It's that important. Okay, so we are going to build on that paper. So, and the assignment game is like the central game for the study of the core because of that paper of Shapley and Shubik. And I'm going to define everything. Sorry? Yeah, me. Okay, just put it here. So, and I'm going to, this is fully self-contained. So if you have any difficulty with any part, feel free to stop me. There's plenty of time, right? Because we started late. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to define anything for now, but we'll do some fun and games. So think of this tennis club, which has a bunch of very famous women and men players, and the edge means that they can participate as a mixed doubles team in an upcoming tournament. And these numbers tell you the winnings of each team if they were to be entered into this tournament. And the tennis club would like to enter a bunch of teams, and of course they will enter teams that maximize the winnings, and that will be a max weight matching in this graph. And that's what they pick. So the 2 green teams, 120 and 100, that's what they pick, the tennis club picks and enter. So the total winnings is $220. And the question then arises how to distribute this profit of $220, right? That's a very central question. And the fair solution will say just equally, so $44 each. And nobody is happy with that. not even Chris Evert, whose pride is hurt because she's not even playing and getting $44, right? So this is a naive solution. We'll call it naive fair, and we'll never go near that solution ever again. Okay. Instead, what we'll do is we'll.
Hi, can you hear me in the room?
Say that again.
The audio is not clear online.
That's an issue that I cannot.
Can we increase the volume a bit?
Oh, okay. Or hello? Is it better?
Yes, yes. Thank you. It's much better. Thank you.
You are also better. Okay, so that's what happens. Huh? Fortunately, we have lots of time. Ashoka, the emperor, of course, and you will be. Okay, so the way we should distribute the earnings among the players is via a negotiation-based process, and doing it on this complicated graph is difficult. So let me go to a very simple graph, and here we have two possible teams. Serena Williams plays Bjorn Borg, and or else Jimmy Connors, and $100 get made each time, no matter which team enters. Let's say the green team enters, and Borg says, okay, you know, I'm the best player in the wooden tennis era. I should get most of the earnings. And Williams says, well, if you are not happy with epsilon of the earnings, then go sit on the sideline, because Jimmy Connors, who's sitting on the sideline, will play for me without taking any profit, because he's sitting there. It'll be an honor for him to play. Okay, so the profit of 100 gets divided this way, believe it or not. And that's a negotiation-based process. And the reason is that Williams is good, and the men have no alternatives. She has alternatives. And of course, you know that you can negotiate only when you have alternatives. Otherwise, you take whatever you get. That's a prime lesson in life that we learn very early. So anyway, so here, what happened was that Connors decided to up his game, and now he can make 110 with Williams. And this time, Connors asked for lots of money, but Williams says, okay, take $10, otherwise I'm going to play with Borg, right? And that's how the negotiation-based process goes. Okay, again, the same reason. Okay, and now there's something more involved. So we have to go to bigger and bigger graphs, of course, to real tennis clubs. So here, as you can see, by far the best player is McEnroe, who makes 110 whether he plays with Serena or Martina, and he, of course, would like to get every bit of the money. And you know how he gets such a high earnings by screaming at the referee. But that's none of our business. The point is he makes money, so he should get money. So he asks for lots of money, and let's say the green teams enter. So Williams plays him, and Martina plays Connors, and the profit for 210. How is it going to be divided? And that's how, because Williams will not give him more than $10, because she has a ready player here who will play with her for $0 and enable her to get $100 that way. So she has to get $100 from McEnroe, no matter what he does. And actually, if the black teams were entered, the same thing holds. Martina would then get $100 out of McEnroe because then Corners is sitting around. And the point here is that McEnroe has alternatives, but that's not the only thing going on. He lacks positional advantage, which these two women players have, because they have ready players waiting on the sidelines to play with them, right? So what's going on? Okay, how do we analyze this game? Difficult, so let's get to a systematic way of doing it, and see what's really going on in this way of distributing profit. Yeah. No collision. Yeah. So this is an assignment game. So we have a bipartite graph with women and men players, and the grand coalition is all the players, and E is the possible teams, and WE is the expected earning of each team, and the worth of the game is defined to be the max weight matching in the whole graph, which is the total profit that can be made. And the question is how to distribute the worth. Is that clear? I mean, that's the only jargon I'll need. Okay, it's quite not that difficult, right? I hope. Okay, so I just want to say that profit sharing is a very key activity in humankind, and has gone on since prehistoric times and has to be done well. Otherwise, if you don't share profit in a fair way, coalitions can collapse, siblings can become enemies, friends can become enemies, and so on and so forth. So let me show you this very interesting anecdote from a paper of Aumann and Moschler, game theoretic analysis of the bankruptcy problem from the Talmud. So this goes back to the Babylonian times, 500 BC. But of course, we are older, right? So I don't know what currency they were using, but since we are older, I'll just say it's rupees. And suppose this man has 3 wives in that time, okay, not today, and to whom he has promised after his death, rather, 100, 200, and 300 rupees, okay? And according to this particular incident, it tells you how to divide the worth of this man after he dies, in case the worth left over is 100, 200, or 300 rupees. Okay, it tells you how to do it. And lo and behold, these people, including this Nobel laureate, they analyze what happens, and they say that it's consistent with the notion of the nucleolus. The nucleolus is a specific imputation in the core. I will not go much further into the definition of a nucleolus, but the point is that it's consistent with the core, okay? So we get back to our main story about the core. So it's a profit-sharing method such that the grand coalition remains intact. So this tennis club should not break apart into little tennis clubs because the players feel they can do much better as a little tennis club entering into the tournament. So what does that mean? That any sub-coalition cannot generate more profit by itself, because otherwise it would secede from the tennis club and go form its own tennis club. So how many sub-coalitions are there? Exponentially many. So we have to watch out for every one of them. And so here's the formal definition of core. For a sub-coalition S, which is a subset of players, could be empty, could be singleton, define the worth to be the weight of a max weight matching in the graph restricted to these players in S. The total profit is the worth of the whole game. And an imputation is a way of sharing the total worth. Okay, so the total profit is, of course, the max weight matching in this graph. And this is what you're sharing, as I already said earlier. And the yeah, and the imputation is in the core. Of course, if it shares the total worth. And for every subcoalition, the amount given to that subcoalition is at least what they would have made by themselves. So there's no reason for them to secede. right? Very smart definition, obviously, right? And the assignment game provides a paradigmatic setting for studying the core, because we'll see in a moment why. Okay, and what is the fairness criteria then that it satisfies? It's fair to each of exponentially many subcoalitions, which is a lot to be done. I mean, it's not easy to ensure this. Huh? In this case, it is. That's a good question. In most cases, it's NP hard. So given an imputation, is it in the core? Is typically NP hard. But here, because of this wonderful theorem of Shapley and Shubik, which really set this up, they gave a characterization of the core, which gives rise to polynomial time algorithms. And the characterization comes from LP. So they first write out the linear programming relaxation of max weight matching, which everybody here knows of, right? Basically, so you have indicator variables XC saying whether the edge E was matched or not. W is the weight of the edge, which is the earning of the edge. And these are just saying that at most one edge is incident at each vertex I or each vertex J, and non-negativity on the edges. And this is the dual LP. The dual LP is saying that, sorry? Yeah, the dual LP is saying that has one variable for each I, yi, and one variable for each j, yj. These are the women and the men players. And it's saying that you should minimize the total distributed to all the women and the men, subject to the fact that on every edge, the profit given to the two endpoints should add up to at least the weight of the edge, which means that this particular edge, these two people will not deviate, will not go away from the parent club, because they can, if they were to make more than, right, so the profit given to them is more than what they can make by themselves. So basically, this is the only condition here, that these pairs should be happy. And the great Shapley-Shubik theorem says that if the pairs are happy, in other words, if you take any dual optimal solution, it's a core imputation, and vice versa. Any core imputation is a dual optimal solution. So just make the pairs happy and you make every subcorrelation happy. Surprising. I mean, that's the power of these theorems, right? So, and matching, actually. So the proof is given by LP duality theorem, and as a corollary, the core of the assignment game is non-empty, and you can check an imputation if it's in polynomial time or not, because you can check for an optimal dual solution in polynomial time. Given a solution, is it optimal dual, you can check in polynomial time. Who? See, a single player can make $0. A single player cannot enter the tournament. So a subcorrelation consisting of one player has no worth. So there's no profit. I mean, that's in fact the big issue. Good that you bring it up before I mentioned it. So that's the big issue I'm going to address in this paper, in this talk, that a singleton set has zero worth, and so the core is not obliged to give it any particular amount. It can give it an arbitrary amount. And so, in fact, this core, even though it is fair to all subcorrelations, these are subcorrelations which are over beyond one, and it is not at all fair, may not be fair at all to individual players. And that's what we want to fix in this talk. So you jumped the gun, which is good. Thank you. Okay, so this fact that the core is non-empty even for a game happens very rarely, because there are exponentially many subcoalitions involved. Anyway, the point is that these nice imputations that happen through negotiation are unique imputations in the core of the assignment game, for this game and also for this game. Okay, so so as a result, we can say that the core gives deep insights into the negotiation power of individual and subcoalitions. Shapley Shubik went on to say many fundamental things more about the core. I'll rattle off a few more. The core is a convex polytope. Of course, because it's all the dual solutions, which is a convex polytope. And it has two special imputations. One favors the women players and one favors the men players maximally. And then any convex combination is sort of in between. So let me illustrate that. Here we have a man-optimal core imputation because Connors did get some money after all, but he could have gotten zero money and Williams could have taken the entire 110. That's also a core imputation, and that's a woman optimal. Okay. So what's the underlying reason for this? Why are there two special imputations, a man and a woman optimal? Because Shapley and Shubik went on to show that the set of core imputations, which is the optimal dual solutions, forms a distributive lattice. Now, this is not a finite distributive lattice like in stable matching, because it's a dense set with uncountably many elements, unless it has only one element. And so the top and bottom elements are the ones that are maximally favoring either the men players or the women players. Okay. So looks like they did everything that was needed to be done about the core. And if you read the title of the next slide, you would see that you feel that probably that's not the case, and you're right. So do we really know it all? And the one more goal of this talk is to say that we really don't know much. Or no, we know a lot, but there's a lot more still to be done. Okay, so first and foremost question, very fundamental. Which players should get the profits? So which players get profits in core imputations? Can we characterize the players who get profits in core imputations? That's one question. The second question is, as I said, for any team, the total profit given to the team is at least the worth of the team, weight of that edge. When is it more? Okay, when is it strictly more? Which teams get overpaid? So I'll ask you for your feeling about these answers. So let's first partition the players and the teams into three. Essential if it is matched in every max weight matching, a player or a team. A team is just an edge with the two endpoints. So a player or a team is essential if it is matched in every max weight matching, viable if it is matched in some but not in all, and subpar if it is matched in none of the max weight matching. Is that clear? Okay. So which players in particular get the profits? The essential, the subpar, only the essential? How about some of the viable ones? Sorry? Huh? Also them? No, because? Okay, I'll show you a different logic that works. Okay, and as far as teams go, which teams get overpaid? Essential, viable, subpar, or essential and viable? Essential, viable, subpar. Okay, we got all three answers. So clearly a right answer has been announced. Okay, so the answers are, and the answers come from what? Answers come from a very, very basic issue about LP and LP duality. The point is that the worth of the game comes from the primal, optimal primal, and the core imputation comes from the optimal dual. So what connects an optimal primal and an optimal dual solution? Complementary slackness conditions. Nobody applied that for 60 years. Okay, and here's the theorem that I want to claim. Core imputations play only essential players. And moreover, every essential player gets paid in some core imputation or the other. Secondly, core imputations overpay only subpar teams. And again, the same, every subpar team gets overpaid in some core imputation or the other. And well, this you sort of expected, and this, of course, somebody managed to answer that also by going through exhaustive search. But but why should only subpar teams get overpaid when they are so incompetent? Hmm? So the edge is subpar. That means the two players they don't work well together, but they make money by playing with other people. So at the end of the day, they get more money from outside. They never play with each other. In no max rate matching do they play with each other. That's the reason. Okay. So and I'm going to use these facts very soon. Okay. So I want to claim that there's a more serious issue that is still missing, which is the one that our friend just pointed out, that a subcorrelation consisting of a single player has zero worth. And so the core makes no fairness guarantee at the level of individual players. Okay. That's a very serious thing, right? Yeah. No, dummy solutions will not work here. Not even dummy solutions with dummy players. Okay. So, uh, so the core of the assignment game is this lattice. Okay. Now, the top and the bottom elements, which are the extreme favor one side or favor the other side and are highly unfair, they can be found via LP. But that was the only thing we knew so far. Okay. But we want to find something that's more equitable to everybody. After all, it's an age of fairness, right? Everybody talks about fairness, so we should also do something about fairness besides talking about it. So, huh? Lovely also. Okay, somebody has to extend this solution to lovely. That's not my job. Okay, so we need new methodology for this. So what is going to happen? Let's see. So what we are looking for is a special core imputation. And actually, there's work going back to 89 on that by none other than Devasys, Datta and Ray, and no, not Dev, sorry, Bhaskar Datta. Is he here? Oh, here you are. I was watching you and I was about to say hello, and I said maybe he's not responding. So anyway, he did this very key paper, which was in Econometrica, the very best journal, where they seek a middle ground between subcorrelations demanding their worth and the societal norm of equity, which was actually prevalent even in 89, if you can believe it. Maybe not in Babylonian times, but certainly in 89. And they gave this notion of an egalitarian solution. And for a convex game, it is the unique core imputation which Lorentz dominates the rest. And what's a convex game? A game for which the worth function over all subsets is supermodular. Okay. Now, very nice result, and some people like Hervé Moulin, who's really one of the key players in cooperative game theory, swears by this result, and many others do. But I'm going to point out three drawbacks of this work from our purpose of trying to study the assignment game. This is not applicable to assignment game because the worth function is not convex. It does not lead to efficient algorithms for any natural game, for even whatever they want to do. And the Lorentz order is a partial order and not a total order. And that, for my small mind, it makes it too grotesque to look at. So I want something simpler, which is total order. Okay. So let's see what can be done to replace this. So of course, we need a new solution concept. And so as usual, we do a distinct, very deliberate search through and first put down the criteria for this new solution concept. And of course, it should make individual profit shares as equal as possible. It should be in the core. And it should lead to combinatorial, strongly polynomial algorithms for not only the assignment game, but also many other games. Okay, so we have a big wish list. And then we look at 4 possible solution concepts. The first is the nucleolus. I will not define it, but it's very, very well known, very well studied. It makes no fairness guarantee towards individuals. And you can see through examples that it will not work out. The second is to maximize the Nash social welfare, means maximize the product of the profits of the essential players, subject to core conditions. So that leads to a convex program, which moreover can have only an irrational solution, so no chance of a combinatorial strongly polynomial algorithm. Then that leads us to two more possibilities, which is Leximin and leximax, where Leximin is that you maximize the least profit given, subject to that, maximize the second least, and so on. Or Leximin goes from the other side. And these two go well beyond these fairness criteria of max-min and min-max fairness, which are already very, very well studied and used in networks, resource allocations, and so on. So this goes well beyond max-min and min-max fairness. So these two look good, and this is what we'll study. And these two they are not equal. Leximin is different from leximax core imputation, and they achieve fairness by different means. How does Leximin achieve fairness? By giving more to the poor people. How does leximax achieve fairness? By taking away from the rich people. Both can, and then giving it to the poor people, of course. So indirectly. Okay, and both are unique. Both these imputations are unique in the core. So the assignment gap has exactly one Leximin core imputation and one leximax core imputation. Nice things to have. And so the question is, what about combinatorial strongly polynomial algorithm? So for the rest of the half an hour, I'll show you the algorithm. Looks like I have half an hour. That's why I wasn't looking at him. Okay, so equitable core imputations. Okay, so the efficient algorithms are based on a new adaptation of the primal dual paradigm. I'll say a bit about this. How many people are familiar with the primal dual paradigm? Through whether it is from combinatorial optimization or approximation algorithms for solving convex programs for getting a market equilibria, many applications. Good. So I'll say a bit about that. So for simplicity, assume that the game is non-degenerate. That means that there's a unique max-weight matching. Okay. If there's a unique max-weight matching, every vertex either gets matched in that unique matching or doesn't. So every vertex is either essential or subpar. Same with an edge. Either it's essential or subpar. So the viable options just go away, and life is simpler. Okay. And the algorithm starts with by finding a max-weight matching, that's polynomial time, and an arbitrary core imputation. And then I want to talk about Leximin. So it sort of changes the arbitrary core imputation iteratively to arrive at a Leximin core imputation. And that's the whole work is about how to make that happen. Okay, so we have just started the talk in some sense, but I have to take you all the way here, so it's self-contained. Okay, so in the iterations, we'll Leximin improve this particular arbitrary core imputation. Okay, and in what sense is it a primal dual algorithm? It looks like we already exhausted the primal dualness, because that's what was needed to find a max-weight matching and an arbitrary core imputation. You use primal dual to find those things. So you've done that. But I'm going to show you an algorithm that can be viewed as primal dual. And that's the point here, that this primal dual is a very versatile method that can be adapted to many different situations, and it's that ingenuity of adaptation that has to be understood, so it can be applied in many other ways in other problems. That's the whole thing. So let's see how that works. So suppose that's the only graph, right? There's an edge of weight 10 and an edge of weight 4, and obviously that's the max weight matching 10. So that's the max weight matching, and this is unmatched. So this is essential edge. This is subpar edge. This is subpar vertex, never be matched. Both of these are essential vertices. Okay, and we have a starting core imputation 2 and 8, because any essential edge, the two endpoints add up exactly to the weight of the edge. Only for subpar edges does it go over, right? And indeed, for this subpar edge, it goes over because 0 plus 8 is 8 itself, right? Which is strictly more than 4. So that's fine because it's a subpar edge. Now, so the essential edges are tight, the subpar are tight or over tight. They're not about, no edges are allowed to be under tight because of the constraints in the dual. And I'll define the set T to be tight edges, tight subpar edges, which is right now empty. And now we want to Leximin improve this. This is not Leximin because the imputation is, I mean, forget the non-essential vertices. As far as essential vertices are concerned, we have 2 and 8 as our vector of profit shares. Can we Leximin improve it? To Leximin improve, we've first got to take the smallest component and increase it. Okay? So we increase the 2 and decrease the 8, of course, because we have to keep this thing tight. And we keep doing that until we hit 5, 5. And then if we keep going on, then we go 6, 4, and that will be skewed to the other end and again become Leximin worse, right? So we stop here because we got 5, 5, we stop. That's it, right? So it's fully repaired and the Leximin order is 5, 5. So in the simple graph, it works. So that's a good algorithm. It works in simple graph, but let's see if it works in a slightly more interesting graph. So here we have, I change this weight to 6. And then what happens? So this can be viewed as dual improvement. When we are Leximin improving the dual, that's dual improvement step. And at some point in this case, before when you get to 5, 5, before that, at 4, 6 already, this edge is exactly tight. A subpar edge is exactly tight. We cannot let it go under tight because if we keep improving the Leximinness of this, this will go under tight and the dual will be infeasible. We cannot afford to do that. So stop here, and this edge is put in the tight sets, and that's our primal improvement. Huh? Oh, you want me to go and hit which one? Yes or no? But then it'll come up hundreds of times. Okay. So, got it? So this edge goes into the tight edges, and that's the primal improvement because primal changed. Of course, not the primal solution, optimal primal solution never changes. Optimal dual changes. But, you know, it's an adaptation of primal dual paradigm to a completely different setting. And it works. That's the point. Oh, now it doesn't work. Yeah. So at this point, we freeze and we output this Leximin profit share. So it's not as good as 5, 5, but that's the best for this graph, 4, 6. Okay. So let me show you many more things happen in this algorithm, and I'll show you through a bigger example. Yes, sir. 7, 3 is worse than 4, 6. You're maximizing the minimum first. 3, 7 is worse than 4, 6. Yeah, yeah, okay. Which other edge? This is a subpar. It should never come in. Yeah. Not subpar will, this is non-degenerate. The graph is non-degenerate. It has a unique max weight matching. We will not change that. Subpar edges will never come in. Only essential edges will be matched, and that's it. It's a very simple thing, but the whole thing works even when the graph is not non-degenerate. Of course. The subpar edges are the ones that block further change. Because the subpar edge cannot go under tight, then you have an infeasible dual instead of an optimal dual. Yeah. Like that. No, you can find out what's the next step where things will happen easily. You can jump to that place. And that you can do even in a bigger graph, like I'll show you how. So basically here, here only one edge was being repaired, but we have to repair multiple edges simultaneously. How to do that, right? And to get to the globally optimal solution. So how do we get, the whole thing about primal dual is what? You have to get to a globally optimal solution by making only local changes. And that, the whole power of the paradigm lies in breaking that global optimum into small, small local steps, which will lead to the global optimum. And it has, many mechanisms have been found for this over the decades and maybe more than maybe a century, I don't know. So in combinatorial optimization, it was to satisfy complementary slackness conditions. In approximation algorithms, it was relaxed complementary slackness conditions. In market equilibria, it is KKT conditions, okay? And in this particular work, a completely new mechanism is given, which is a global clock which coordinates all the processes and transforms the global problem into a local problem. And here's how it works, because so far the clock never came in. That LP was solved. I found a max weight matching, which is unique. I found an optimal dual arbitrary, and now I'm massaging the that arbitrary optimal dual to make it Leximin. No, I don't know how. I mean, all doors are open for everybody to enter, but that's how far I got. Okay, so this is the global clock, which is set to 0. The subpar edges is set to empty. And now, since you're interested so much, let's go into a real graph, good graph. But I will go into it not by giving the whole graph, it's too complicated. I'll show you each edge as it becomes important for the purpose of repair, okay? And which is the first edge that is matched edge that is important to be repaired? I've already given the answer before. Sorry? No. We have a unique max weight matching, and we are repairing the matched edges are essential, and we are repairing the essential edges. The repair is blocked by subpar edges becoming exactly tight. That's true. But among the different matched edges, so far there were only one matched edge. There was no choice. We had to repair that fellow. But if I give you many matched edges, which the one with smallest profit share, because Leximin means maximize the minimum profit share. So take the max weight, take the essential edge, which has the minimum profit share, and rotate. Whether it's rotate like this, or it depends on whether the min is here or there. So for instance, we have to increase the smallest profit share. That's the job of Leximin. Okay, so at time 2, this edge comes in because its profit share is 2. And this happens to be the smallest profit share of any vertex, any essential vertex in this particular graph, which I haven't even shown you. Oops, raise the hand, my God. Okay, do we have time for a hand? Okay. Hello? Lowered his hand. Okay, so we bring in the vertex with the smallest profit share, and we want to repair it. So before we were doing clockwise rotation, this time we have to do anti-clockwise, because the 2 has to increase and the 20 has to decrease to keep this 22 exactly 22. And that goes on until time 3, when another event happened, which is another edge came in. I'm not giving you all the edges purposely, but I'm telling you this is the next edge that comes in. Okay, it has a profit share of 3, and at this point, that goes through repair. I mean, of course, these guys also go through repair as usual. And at 4, a new thing happens, namely this subpar edge became exactly tight. It so happened, okay? And so it brought in its own edge, and you have to clockwise rotate this because the lowest one is here. But in clockwise rotating this and in keeping this thing exactly tight, you also have to rotate the next edge. Okay, so you repair both of them until time 6, where you got 2 6s in that component. Finished. You cannot do Lexi better, because then otherwise you get 5 7, and that's Lexi worse than 6 6. So that's fully repaired, and above the line is everything, all the junk that is fully repaired is above the line, and this thing keeps doing the repair And at some point, this thing goes exactly tight, and we declare it done because there's nothing else to do. Okay, so I sort of gave you a caricature of the kinds of things going on, but I just want to say that that the progress is a function of. I want to say one thing first, that we need to resolve subtle algorithmic choices correctly, and there are many slips there which will lead to a bad algorithm. But if you resolve them all well, then you get a completely correct algorithm. And here, because of this global clock, what is the mechanism? Let GT be the subgraph of induced components in the frozen and fully repaired part. These are the fully, they don't need to be repaired anymore. And that is Leximin. GT is Leximin. The rest have profit shares of at least strictly more than T. And as T keeps going on, all of them keep going into fully repaired. And when before the time reaches M over 2, where M is the weight, max weight of an edge, we'll be done. That's it. Yeah, on the weight, yeah. Weight of the max weight edge, it has to. Strongly polynomial works on the weight. Yeah, I mean, you are allowed to, I mean, you're not allowed to take weight in unary number of steps, but you're allowed to work with the weights. Otherwise, how will you find a max weight matching in strongly polynomial time if you cannot even look at the weight? No, the clock will not never go like that. The clock will go to the next event. It will not. Yeah, yeah. You should. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, lots of things can be said here, but the main thing is that it goes through. And then after I wrote this whole paper, somebody was visiting and giving a talk on Nash equilibrium, and very nice talk. And they told me that regret minimization algorithms for two-person zero-sum games take local improvement steps, and the average of strategies played converges to Nash equilibrium. And this is like primal dual also. Okay, so primal dual, which, well, no, this is not primal dual. This is like primal dual. This also reduces a global optimum into local steps. Like that's the power of the primal dual. Okay, and that's my talk. I just want to say that a word about the role of matching theory. So basically, matching had, if you look at the last century or whatever, you can see that matching opened the doors to many genres of algorithmic problems. Shapley and Shubik is just one of them. And is this a similar phenomenon? Because this is also assignment game is matching. Are we going to see more Leximin, leximax for other games? And what are these? I mean, and this primal dual thing, will it lead to other algorithms, other insights? And to that end, we have this paper with two of my current students and one former student, Equitable core imputations for max flow, MST, and B matching games. And in this case, they have many industrial applications. In those applications, you would have to share the profit or the cost, and you want to do it in a fair way. You'd like to use the core, but core by itself is not even totally fair. So you'd like to do Leximin, leximax, and these equitable ways, which you could do because it's strongly polynomial, right? So that's the message. Thank you. Oh, it's not even 10:30. We are before time. Okay. What? There's nothing here. You made me rush in the beginning. Yes, sir. Never go to hypergraph. NP complete. Hopelessly without structure. Just don't go there. I've never gone there because I sort of could smell it from a distance. I don't know this. Yeah, there's many, many extensions of Professor Datta's version. Yeah, yeah, there are many. Those are also primal dual, by the way. There's a paper of mine with Kamal Jain showing that all of these algorithms are primal dual, actually. Yeah, 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 yeah. So what's the question? No, I'm saying this is not related to that stuff at all. This is Lorentz domination is a partial order. This is a total order. Leximin, leximax is a total order. So no relationship. That's why I said there were. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 No. Well, it's a very good question, actually. Very, very good question. So Professor Datta is asking if these matching games can be solved efficiently because pairs suffice. But pairs suffice, so how are you dealing with the pairs? You're not only dealing with the pairs, you're dealing with everything. It's, I think matching, if you look at how many different kinds of problems have been solved in polynomial time for matching-based problems, it's astounding. That's the one that stands out. I mean, flow and shortest path and all, they fail at some points. It's because it's matching and it's beautiful structure. It's such a pristine structure that it allows efficient computability. That's my take on it. Yeah, but only n correlations matter, or m correlations matter. N square correlations matter, is what you're saying. Yeah, but matter individually. But when you put it all together, you cannot say, okay, I'm going to give this much to this much to this, and but then at the end of the day, you're still looking at the whole imputation. So it's because it's matching. Matching is very, very supreme problem. Sorry? My paper deals with the whole thing. Because, yeah, then there are viable vertices and viable edges, and the algorithm tells you what to do exactly. And then these, right now I'm repairing single edges. I repair entire components. And they're called fundamental components. And it gets, arbitrarily difficult, but there was no reason to bring in that difficulty in this kind of a talk. So and that's why I went to non-degenerate. Keep it simple, right? You can always wiggle the graph and get it to be non-degenerate. And that's what Shapley Shubik had recommended, believe it or not. And the right way to answer their question of what to do about degenerate is to go to those insights that I gave. And the insights are that, and I mean, all of this appears in my paper, so I'm going to have to repeat it. But basically, the point is that when you have degeneracy, then the viable vertices look like subpar, and the viable vertices look like subpar, and the viable edges look like essential. Yeah, that's what. So that's the way to answer degeneracy. Degeneracy gives you that. When you have degeneracy, of course, if you wiggle it and get to non-degeneracy, you're out of that. But you should not, because then you're studying an instance that's qualitatively different. You have the accidents that happened because you and I like the same thing, exactly the same. That has been thrown out the window, so that's not okay. Yeah. Oh, you cannot wiggle when you are also wanting to be fair, because you can wiggle it in favor of somebody and they get all the thing and the other person left hanging. Yeah, that's not okay. Any other questions? Because the questions were rather good, right? So it came across, even though the time was very short. Come on, becoming great place. Did you record it? Okay, good. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, put it on YouTube.